Hello and welcome once again to Ignite Your Impact. My name is Jen Rhodes. I am not going to mention how long my shirt is. I am going to talk about how high my chair is, and I might dangle my feet today. So if I shake the desk, I apologize in advance. I can't really touch the ground.
Is that what we're going to talk about today?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's not. But we have a cold open, so I need to lay some interesting things out so people stay tuned.
Yeah, very interesting. I love it.
It's called suspense, Matt. All right, let's dive in.
All right.
We are going to be talking about something most people avoid, but it is actually the key to unlocking your next level. And I want you to really lean in here. The language that we use is very important today. We are diving into where do I need to be making more mistakes? Not avoiding mistakes, but looking for the right ones to make so that you can grow faster.
Yeah, I love this topic because, I think at least everyone listening to this podcast, they're always thinking about goals and how do I hit these goals? But when you ask that question, instead of how do I hit these goals, you ask, where do I need to be making more mistakes? I think it completely changes the mindset and the next steps.
Yeah. If you are listening, if you are tuning in on YouTube, hey, I want everyone listening to think of a goal. Maybe it's making more money. Maybe it's getting ready for pool season or an upcoming vacation. Now ask yourself, regarding that topic, where do I need to make more mistakes? Usually after some short thought into that next step or action pops into your head, and you realize where you have been playing it too safe. That language is important. Again, stick with us.
Yeah, so I want to jump in with an example of where I was not leaning into making mistakes, and then I did, and it paid off. And it's a business example. And I really haven't told anyone about my first deal, so I'm going to give that example. My first real estate deal. So for those of you, I think everyone listening knows I'm in real estate, but you don't know what I do. My company finds apartment complexes, or we team up with another company that finds them, and then we all pool our investors together, and we buy that apartment complex, and we run that, and our investors just get returns. They want to be in real estate, but they want to be hands off. So I'm always looking for investors. So this deal, this first one, it's fantastic. Numbers are great. It's going to be great for investors, but I was scared. I was scared to call friends and family and ask them if they wanted to invest because I wasn't confident in myself. So I was very confident in the deal, but I didn't want to say something stupid. I don't know why. I had that fear of calling and saying something dumb to the people that were closest to me.
I think that's so wild because most people are frozen with fear with strangers.
Yeah. So, well, great point.
Right.
So I actually
an insight into your psyche.
Yeah. I actually relied on strangers. So what I would do instead of calling friends and family, when I met people, I'd tell them I'm in real estate. And if I said something stupid to them, no big deal. It's a stranger. So I was fine. So I was talking to strangers about investing. So here's what happened. I raised some money, but not enough to get the deal. I actually lost my first deal because I didn't raise enough money. And I watched that deal after it closed for a couple months, and it was an absolute grand slam. So it's where this topic comes from today. I had a mentor ask me, where am I not making enough mistakes? And I would realize I just haven't been willing to make mistakes. So what did I have to do? I needed to lean into that, and not only for the benefit of me, but also the benefit of my friends and family, being able to invest in a great opportunity. So I did lean into it. And when that next deal came around, which was technically my first, but I call it my second, when it came around, I made those calls.
Yeah, you were hell-bent on that second deal.
Yes. Was my first call great? No, I think it was probably actually terrible, but it was with a close friend. So I had massive learnings from those calls because here was the learning when I leaned into the mistakes is it's about know, like, and trust. It's not about the investment. The investment's second. I realized that I already had a track record in business. So when I called the people that I was scared to call, the friends and the family, They already knew, like, and trusted me. And that's when I leaned into where do I need to make more mistakes? Just go do it. And when I did that, that changed my whole perception on investments and how to work with people. And there's no way I'd be where I'm at today if I had not been told, Matt, where do you need to be making more mistakes?
Yeah, most people will stop where they feel safe. Obviously, it's a defense mechanism. It's in our brain, right? Most people will stop where they feel safe, not where they feel capable. Yeah?
Yeah.
PT clients, I know you're listening. What do I always say? Challenged, but successful, right? But you may stop where you feel safe. Matt stopped where he felt safe, talking to strangers.
Yeah, and what's crazy is
it's just bananas to me.
that's 70% effort. And 70% effort, it feels productive, but it's actually a plateau. I thought I was giving it my all when I realized, man, I wasn't anywhere I needed to be. I wasn't talking to the right people, and it was just a major eye opener for me. So I've shared that one. Why don't you share a fitness one? Maybe with a client or something like that.
Yeah. I have a perfect one, actually. We just started a couple of weeks ago. Female, age 61, name we will withhold. But when she signed on to my program, she said, Jen, I'm putting in the time, but I'm not getting the results. Does that sound familiar? So we reviewed her goals, went through her history, her habits, and honestly, on paper, she looked pretty close where she needed to be, right? I'm doing the things. Oh, I lift. I watch I track my meals. I'm getting 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. So on paper, I'm like, man, you know what, sweets? Until I get my hands on what you're doing, I can just speculate. She had been using up to this point a solid looking workout program on her phone. Her nutrition was somewhat dialed in. She was going to the gym consistently. And yet, nothing was changing. She wasn't lazy. She wasn't unmotivated. She wasn't clueless. But she was doing the thing that most women do. Girls, there's no hate behind this statement, but we stop where we feel safe, not where we feel capable. And that sneaky 70% effort that feels productive, but it keeps you in the same body, in the same energy, and the same story. Aha. After 10 full days of working together, I knew exactly what was holding her back. So on her first check-in, I opened up her homework logs and I noticed something immediately. Client X, your weights look really light. Is this normal? Are you lifting at the gym? Yeah, I'm lifting at the gym. These weights look really light. And she was hitting every rep with no struggle at all. Yeah, I'm getting through them fast. It's great. Haha. I asked, okay, are these weights correct? She says, yeah. Isn't the point to get all the reps in as fast as you can? Bing, 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 bing. There it was. She also added, when I worked with a trainer previously, he was only focused on my form to be perfect. Love, very safe, very safe. Everything made sense. So I told her, I love good form. I'm going to keep you in good form. I'm watching your every move. But you are so terrified of making a mistake or challenging your body or failure that you're not lifting anywhere heavy enough. What's the one thing that we lift to when we lift? We lift to failure.
Yep.
That language is so important. She wasn't lifting near heavy enough. I needed her lifting almost to the point where she almost broke form, but she doesn't because I'm watching her. I then explained the second issue. You're tapering your workouts. You're choosing weights that guarantee you can hit every rep of every set, which means no failure, which means you're never actually training at the intensity needed to change your body. Your body requires failure under pressure to change. So the magic words: go hard on the first set. Go hard on the second. And if set 3 falls apart, failure. That's exactly what we needed. Challenged but successful. It clicked. Not because she didn't know how to lift, but because she had never been given permission to mess up in pursuit of greatness. She's never given herself permission to fail. You train to failure. Now she's following the plan. She's leaning into the discomfort. She let herself make mistakes. My God, she slowed down.
How's she doing after 10 days?
After 10 days, she's getting results. Her body fat's down 3% already.
Wow.
Right? Strength is skyrocketed. Confidence is exploding. Her body is changing. Because the thing holding her back wasn't the plan. It was her perfectionism. She was so focused on doing everything right that she never pushed hard enough to get anywhere different. Once she let go of perfect, she finally stepped into great.
I love that. I think, both those examples show you how important leaning into that discomfort or being willing to make mistakes and where you learn from them, because mistakes aren't who you are. That's what we feel. We feel like we make a mistake. That's who we are. But it's just basically feedback. You're just looking for feedback.
Failure is feedback.
Yeah.
I remember William burning that into my brain. Failure is feedback.
They tell you what you need to work on, not that you are a failure.
Yeah. And whether it's reps in the gym, whether it's tracking your food, whether it's building a business, the mistakes are the moments that teach you the most. Failure is feedback. And if you look back without judgment, anything you really succeeded in started with mistakes, many mistakes, right? Failure is feedback. What can you learn from it? And you learn from those mistakes, and that's what helped you get to that win.
I got a great example. I'm going to hold off on it for a second, but that just made me think of one. But, I would ask everyone listening right now, how many mistakes have you made in this past month? And when I ask that, I'm not talking about, forgetting to take out the trash like I did. But I'm talking about...
I got you, babe.
You got me taken care of. You got it out. But
Sully and I got you.
I'm talking about launching something in your business or failure in the gym. Or when, in the last month, how many mistakes have you really, really made? And if everything is working for you, you're probably not taking enough swings. You're at that 70% level and you don't realize what Jen said earlier you're capable of. And the example that just came into my mind is that, I remember when we were super young and we really pushed through some mistakes.
Did we?
Well, it all started with supplement sales.
Oh, yeah.
So this is 20 plus years ago.
This is how we got into the biz.
Yeah. And supplements were taboo.
Yes. Do you remember that when I first got pregnant with Callie, I was like, I would like to take this multivitamin. And my doctor was like, no.
I remember.
I'm like, it's fish oil. Calm down.
It was very taboo back then.
Yeah. But back to your know, like, and trust, right? Our friends and family bought from us. They bought into us.
Yeah. And it worked because we built a pretty large business on that.
Yeah, we did.
But we wanted, where this story is going is we wanted to expand our customer base because we just, all of our friends and family were on the product. And we decided, first, it was full of, we just decided we're going to expand and open a gym with no experience.
Why not?
Yeah.
Hey, we seem to be smart.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked in our favor, but that was also like full of mistakes and learnings, right?
Yeah.
We lost $100K our first year and almost had to close. Thank God we found the learnings and applied them quickly, right? And still, we're almost 20 years in, right? We keep making mistakes. We keep learning. Just because I learned something 20 years ago doesn't mean it might not show back up again.
Yeah.
As long as I apply the learnings, we're good. But all of those mistakes have rolled into 2 very successful gyms and a very successful online training company.
It's all, pushing through the mistakes. And I know there was a lot of work in that and there was some luck, but I think that's good for everyone to hear that example because you're probably thinking about doing something right now. You could be thinking about launching a side hustle or a new venture or something, but you have to move. You have to realize you're going to make mistakes and you should lean into those mistakes because at the end, that's where you grow. So I want to walk, before we wrap up, I want to walk through how you can push through mistakes and use them for growth. Just a simple way to do it. I mean, a simple way is to sit back and think, where do I need to make more mistakes? But an actual, a little bit of a framework. But before I do that, by now you are probably thinking, There's somewhere in your life that you need to be pushing harder on. You're at that 70%. You want to get to that 80, 90%. You want to push harder. So think about that as I walk through that. You need to identify what that 70% zone is. Where are you comfortable and where do you stop early? Just like Jim was talking about that client, she stopped early in her weights because she wasn't picking up enough weights. And once you've got that down, what does 100% look like? Not perfection, but potential. What's the potential that you could do? And then this next week, just move it up 20%. You're at 90. You're not at 100. Just move it up your normal stop, where you'd normally stop. In that example, if you normally pick up 20-pound dumbbells, pick up 25-pound dumbbells and see where you can go.
If you're shooting for 10K steps, look at your current average.
Yeah.
If you're at 5, don't shoot for 10. How about we shoot for 7? I mean, I don't think that's 20% more. Maybe it's 20% more. You do the math. I don't know. But make it so it's not like perfection. It will destroy you.
Yes. I'm glad that you brought that up.
Thank you.
And when you're doing this and you're picking up that extra weight or you're doing those things, you have to review mistakes. That's the next thing. Mm-hmm. So you got to identify where you're at. Then you got to define what 100% looks like. And then you've got to add in that 20%. Then you got to review the mistakes, which gives you the data that you need.
Yeah.
And then you just repeat it with the higher standards.
Yeah.
When I say higher standards, I'll go back to that same example. If you're lifting 20-pound dumbbells, you realize you can do 25. You go into the gym the next week and you've got higher standards. Can you push it to 30?
Love.
Yeah.
I love that. That's why we have our weekly check-in sheet. And I sit in the data, not in the emotion.
Yep.
Because you can wreck your brain with perfection, right? Now, I will say we are not immune to this, right? Matt shared his story. There was a season where I swore I was trying. I was eating clean, working out when it was convenient, reading all the mindset books, but applying none of them. Journaling occasionally, right? I was busy. I was productive, but I wasn't changing at all. And the truth, I didn't want to admit, I wasn't actually trying. I was checking boxes, right? I was self-sabotaging in a really polished, responsible-looking way.
I don't even know what that means.
And I even clearly had my husband fooled, right? A comfortable 70% effort that felt good, but moved nothing.
That makes sense.
Right? And in speaking with my mentor, I said, I don't understand. I'm working so hard. And he said, no, you're not. You're doing what feels safe, and you're great at it. Oh, see that part that no one tells you. Self-sabotage doesn't look like quitting. It looks like low-stakes effort. It looks like perfectionism. It looks like doing everything except the one thing that would actually change you. See, it wasn't the work I was avoiding. It was the transformation that scared me. What if? What if I finally do step into this power? What's that going to look like? Are my people around me still going to love me? Right? But once I got honest, everything shifted. I stopped negotiating with myself. I stopped working hard-ish. I started getting really strategic. And I stopped choosing comfortable tasks that made me feel productive. Do you realize, have you noticed on my checklist now daily, I don't have boxes to check? Because those are the easy ones. Of course, I'm going to get those checked.
Yep.
I have the hard, grueling tasks, the projects, right? I stopped choosing comfortable tasks that made me feel productive. Those are the ones that you can delegate, man, right? And guess what? My body changed. My business grew. My confidence through the roof. Because you can't outwork self-sabotage. You have to outgrow it.
You know, there was some more I was going to say, but I think we need to wrap on that because I think there's that story that you just told. I think there's a lot that's going to hit with a lot of people. I want to wrap right there. I think you got to realize your comfort zone is the real enemy, and that's what Jim was just talking about. Her comfort zone. not your failures. Your comfort zone is the enemy, not your failures. And mistakes are just obstacles and they're upgrades. You grow through those.
They're upgrades. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I want you to ask yourself this week, where do I actually need to be making more mistakes? Because a 70% effort builds a 70% result. We're going to wrap with that.
I love it. Until next week.
Yes, I hope this brought value. Guys, you know what to do. Share it. Change some lives. We'll talk next time.